Four Prime Archetypes, Why We Do What We Do, written by Aaron Huey and Martina Kodrin. Now available on Amazon and Kindle and coming soon to audiobook.
All right, so I'm a typical wizard, more or less a wizard. And, you know, from what I know about the archetypes, which is quite a bit after having helped you written this book, and, you know, we've been talking about it for a long, long time, wizards tend to be overthinkers. We get into our minds, we think about stuff. We don't tend to act, or, you know, if we do act, we act when we know exactly what the outcome is going to be, right?
Very much an observation process where you're taking time, you're watching what everybody does, you internalize, evaluate. Sure.
Yeah. And then if you know it's going to be a bullseye, you take the shot. If not, I don't tend to. So my question to you is, if I'm such a wizard and I spend so much of my time in my head thinking about stuff, why do I get such road rage when I'm driving? You know, I don't tend to have rageful emotions, but when I'm driving and then, you know, someone's driving either too slowly or they cut me off or they don't use their turn signal or, you know, just stuff like that make me so angry. So what's up with that?
I have had the privilege of driving and being driven in a lot of different countries recently. Here's the first answer, wizards and driving. The reason why you get frustrated so easily is because there is a formulaic, preset, determined list of rules that everybody should be following, and they make sense. They are designed to keep you safe and allow everybody to get to where they need to go. And some people have the audacity to get in their vehicles and not follow the rules or make up their own.
Yeah.
Or there's a second thing to this. Or as a wizard, you have decided that one of the rules that has been put in place to protect the collective ego and to keep the masses safe does not, should not, and will not apply to you. Because you have...
Because it's stupid.
Because it's stupid. It doesn't make sense.
Makes sense.
Right?
No sense. Exactly.
Why is it 35 miles an hour here? There's no school. There are no children. I'm driving 45. Right? And one wizard we're poking fun at wizards now. So wizards hang in there because everybody causes problems in traffic. Every single one of the archetypes. All right? But we're just talking wizards. Some wizard, not you, you're following the rules. By God, and look, my son is a great driver. My son is a trained driver. We hired a driving expert who taught the Navy SEALs how to drive, to teach him how to drift his car so that we knew he was going to drive fast. We knew he wanted to race cars. He built a race car. So we said, okay, you're going to do this. Let's teach you how to do it right. And he's very good. And he drives in Mexico. Mexico traffic rules are a suggestion. They're not
more like
actual
guidelines.
They're just like, you may want to consider that maybe, but here's what's amazing is that he takes it very, very personally because it doesn't make sense. But I have found myself really enjoying driving in Mexico. My warrior jester side feels right at home in this because it's a cooperative experience. They don't get mad at you when you cut them off, and you don't get mad at them when they cut you off, because ultimately someone's going to cut you off and you're going to cut someone off. And your job is to, within reason, get to where you need to go. And everybody is doing that and allowing for the fact that everybody is trying to just get where they need to go. So when someone cuts off and across 4 lanes of traffic to make a turn, you just kind of let it go. In Merida, it's fascinating. It's a pretty compact little city. Stop signs are relative suggestions, as are stoplights. Traffic circles are kind of a free-for-all, but nobody's honking at each other. In Mexico City, however, people are honking. People are aggressively honking. In India, honking is used to say, hey, I'm right next to you. Don't kill me. Like
Yeah, I was
India,
just gonna say it depends on different cultures as well, right?
it really does, because in India, there's no traffic rules. There's just traffic. In Vietnam, it's amazing. It is utter chaos. But if you just walk out into traffic and walk across the street, and you can watch YouTube videos of this. In fact, a good friend of ours, Robert Raymond Riopel, has filmed himself saying, this is how you be a wizard walking across the street in India. And he walks right out into traffic and everybody stops. And you watch people just walk in Vietnam, walk out in front of traffic and everybody stops. I wouldn't do that in India. But in Vietnam, people are like, yeah, you go. So here's the key. Here's the key. It's about the rules for the wizard. Either the rules that are in your head that make sense to you, and everybody should be following your rules because you are a brilliant person and understand traffic patterns, dynamic human psychology, and sociology. Or you're following the rules and other people aren't. And it's causing you frustration because there is a logical flow to this mathematical experience. Now, everybody has a problem driving. Not everybody has a problem with road rage. I don't. And I drive a lot. I drive across countries in a camper. I get in the right lane. I drive the speed limit. I lock it in. I pull over to the left when somebody slowers in front of me and I get back in front of them. And I just don't care. Like my warrior side said, and my jester side said, if it doesn't matter in 5 years, it doesn't matter now.
Yeah, in theory, that's all fine and dandy. But when you're there, like you explaining the different types of traffic across the world gives me anxiety. Like, I come from Slovenia where people more or less follow the rules.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine, especially India, or, I've been to like Egypt and stuff, and it's similar to, just honking and stuff. It's just chaos and it makes me so anxious. So yeah, in theory, I know it's not going to matter in 5 years, but in that moment, I'm still going to go with all the expletives and all the,
Sure.
shiny
Now,
words.
there's a couple of things that come up. First of all, being someone who's driven a lot in America and has watched his own country in the America is very inclusive and extremely large. North America includes Canada. It also includes Mexico. In the United States of America, being a Gen Xer, I've watched traffic change. I've watched road rage change. Mattering in 5 years, in my mind, living in the country that I live in, means that being upset at someone, them cutting you off and slamming on the brakes, could suddenly turn into a very violent and potentially deadly confrontation. Road rage and shootings and fistfights, that's what makes something matter in 5 years. So being mad in your car, being an armchair samurai or a couch quarterback, when that's a term we have about watching football, right? You're telling the quarterback who's actually playing the game what they should be doing because you know best. What? Like, get out on the field and have 8 people running at you trying to smear you across the ground and tell me you'll know what to do better than that quarterback.
Yeah.
But being an armchair analyst I get it. And we do that in our cars. We are analyzing everybody else's behavior. Consciousness would dictate that we become very aware of what we're doing. Really, if we are angry, we are in our car and we are furious at the car next to us. Really? Is it the car next to you? Or did they do something that makes you feel unsafe? Is this what you do when you feel unsafe? You get angry? If you feel that you are participating in a community, in a collective process that everybody needs to keep each other safe, and that person isn't, it makes sense that you would be mad at them. Now, that won't matter in 5 years. So I'm saying it doesn't matter. You can get mad. It doesn't matter. Get mad. In your mind, cuss them out, tell them what you're going to do. You're still doing this in your safe place.
Yeah.
Where we cross that line is when our fear of not being safe suddenly changes into fight, flight, freeze, faint, fornicate, feed. That one of these 6 reactions, fawning, 7 reactions, we have to actually start saying 7 now, is impairing your ability to drive safely.
Yeah.
If your mind is not on you.
I was actually going to say that because for me, getting angry and just letting some of that steam out inside my car doesn't translate into angry actions. I'm not going to go, slam on the brakes to hit someone, just for someone to hit me from behind. I'm not going to, force him to stop and go beat him up or stuff like that. So yeah, I'm glad that you addressed that as well, because me as a wizard, I'm just going to go beep, 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 and then I'm going to continue driving. I'm not going to even, push on the gas to go faster, right?
I have 2 people who I reference in the book, and I'm not going to say who they are. I'll let people who've read the book try to figure out who I'm talking about. It's an Easter egg hunt. They get in the car, and I'm generally a passenger in the car with them. I don't drive when we are all together. They are the ones who are driving. The moment they get in the car and start driving, the 2 of them share a nonstop commentary about everyone else's behavior. Nonstop. The entire time we're in the car. Oh my God, that person, excuse me, I'm driving here. Oh no, let me keep us all safe. Thank you very much, sir. And they're just back and forth. You look at the way that a-hole's driving, and they're back and forth. The
nice
entire
turn
ride.
signal, asshole.
Yes, exactly. It's like 20 minutes, 2 hours. You have to listen to their running commentary. But what I actually hear is them saying, are we safe? Yeah, we're safe. Oh my gosh, are we safe? Yeah, it's okay. We're safe. Are you safe? I'm safe. Are you safe? Yep, I'm safe. We're safe? We're safe. Okay, we're being safe. Safe. That person's not safe. No, they're not, but we're safe. Okay. All right. Is that person being safe? No, they're not. Okay, but it's okay because we're safe, right? Yeah, we're safe. That's all I hear. It's...
That is so funny. Actually, I want to know how many of the people watching this are feeling either understood or called out right now. So just maybe drop down in the comments, drop your, let's say, driving experience in your country, like maybe where you're from, and do you experience road rage?
It's interesting because even in different states in the same country, driving patterns can change. We have a very large commentary in the United States about California drivers. It's very large. California drivers are, I would say, they go pretty warrior once they're in their cars. And they are aggressively trying to get to where they're going and get there before you get to where you're going, even though we're completely different places. But they don't let you in. And in Colorado, we have what's called the wave. We wave to each other. We wave at people. I'm in Utah right now, and I backed out of a parking spot, got honked at by a car. I'm driving a car that doesn't have a rear view mirror. It has a rear view camera, and I'm not used to looking at it. So my eyes have naturally been avoided, but I will admit I was backing out. I wasn't paying attention. Let me just say that, right? Full warrior responsibility, full bard responsibility here. I backed out of a parking spot and I did not look properly. A car honked at me. I immediately stopped. They pulled forward to get out of the way from behind me, and then they stopped again to make eye contact with me, and they were angry. I waved and apologized, and they were floored. They did not know what to do. They were expecting middle fingers. They were expecting like, what? Just move, go. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I pulled the Colorado wave, and they were like, huh? And then just kind of slowly drifted forward, and they slowly turned away from me, looking out front.
Who's this weirdo?
Who's this weirdo? I'm from Colorado. We wave to each other. We wave people in. We let people in. Oh, you got to get to where you're going? I do too. I'd rather us both make it there than fight so that we can get to different places before the other person. Like, it doesn't. And it's a very different experience, right? There's a politeness that I've experienced in Texas with driving. that I don't experience even in Colorado. But people are used to having to wait for a farm truck and move around in some of the back roads of Texas and being in a camper van, driving all over the United States. There is a cultural archetype that will begin to show up. Even if you're a bard, a jester, a wizard, a warrior, if there's an expectation like California that you have to aggressively drive or you're going to be the one to cause the accident, then you will learn how to drive that way. See, that's an example of what we talk about in the book, about that we have to begin to learn to suppress our nature and we become nurtured to express something else. Otherwise, we won't, quote, end quote, survive. Because if you drive like a Coloradoan in California, you can do as much damage as driving like a Californian in Colorado and cause as much frustration.
Yeah.
So you learn how to drive differently. If I'm going to drive in Mexico successfully, I can't drive like I drive in Colorado because I would be letting everybody in and I would never get anywhere. So you have to take your turn of just cutting them off. And you just do it. People literally just like jockey up and down the roads and then start to pull into each other to make you back off. And in the United States, dare I say, that could get you shot in New Jersey. Right?
Yeah.
But in Mexico, you just put on the brakes. They cut you off. They make that left turn. You pull out from behind them. You don't glare at them. You don't honk at them. You just move on because ultimately you're going to do that to someone else too. I find Mexico driving very cooperative, not crazy.
Well, yeah, it's really interesting how, like you said, it's a cultural archetype.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to know more, if you want to read more about it, we're gonna put a link down below where you can get the book and get reading and tell us why we're wrong. Spoken like a true wizard.